welcome back to Dwayne's World. Does it feel like fall where you live? It absolutely doesn't to me. We're going to be in the high 90s this week, believe it or not. But at the same time, there's some tips and tricks I want to share with everybody as we enter into the fall season. You want to learn more? Stay tuned. All right, so I know what you guys are thinking. This video is going to be all about Dwayne just talking about the fall season. But don't worry, that's only about half true. The other half is going to be that I am going to be getting a 25-inch Mclane greenskeeper out there, and we're going to lay down some stripe action because I know we all love to see that. And the reason why I'm getting my mow on is absolutely because we are still in the high 90s and my Bermuda is still actively growing. For you guys, it might be a little different depending on what part of the country you live in. So I just want to share with you a couple tips and tricks that you want to make sure you're always mindful of as you enter into fall. So one thing, full disclosure here, just want to make sure that the tips I'm providing in today's video is really meant for warm season turf. If you're not sure of what type of turf you have, it's a very important starting point. Although some of the points that I bring up today can carry over into cool season lawns have a completely different set of rules than warm season lawns. So it's important that you understand that before you actually implement the tips that I'm providing. So, all right, so if you were to ask Dwayne's World, what is your amateurish DIY residential recommendations? Well, there's going to be 4. And not all 4 are required, by no means. But there's one I would say is going to be probably the most important thing in my opinion. Now there is one exception to this rule, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the first thing you want to make sure you do is you want to make sure you apply a good pre-emergent. Now whether you choose to go with a granular, whether or not you choose to go with a liquid, that's your choice. So just really quickly though, what is the key to a good pre-emergent strategy? It's that you get it down early. And I think that's where we tend to fail the most when it comes to preventing weeds, is we wait too long to apply our pre-emergents and weeds have already started to develop. So the threshold, or the guide that you want to follow, is when our soil temperatures start to drop below 55 degrees. Now we want to apply our pre-emergent long before that. So maybe when our soil temperature is closer to 60 degrees is probably appropriate. Please, if you haven't got it down now, you want to put it down as soon as possible because now is going to be the window for most parts of the country. Now, where I'm in Southern California, we are still in the 90s this week. So my soil temperatures are pretty warm. I probably have another week or so before I have to actually apply it. But again, you do want to put it down. So why is it so important? Dwayne, what is the point of why you keep stressing pre-emergent? Well, when our lawns go to sleep in the fall and everything becomes dormant and everything becomes brown, Bermuda's arch nemesis is poana. And it's unsightly. You know, it's the one time a year, it's ironic, but the one time a year where we want to just see a brown lawn. We do not want to see any green. So that's rule number 1, pre-emergent. Now I did mention there is an exception. And that exception is if you plan on overseeding. Now what I mean by overseeding is not with more Bermuda grass. No. That's a story for a different day. However, some of us like to overseed our warm season turf with perennial rye or some type of ryegrass. And if you do that, if you apply a pre-emergent, your seed won't germinate. So do not apply pre-emergent if your plan and your strategy is to overseed your lawn for fall so you can maintain kind of that green color all throughout the year. All right, so let's talk about number 2. One of the things that I think is frustrating as we go into spring that we end up finding sometimes in our Bermuda lawns is there's areas that do not grow in. And we don't know why. Like they're bare spots. And I can, post in the shot here kind of an example of what I mean by that. And those bare spots, we're not always unsure of where they came from. Generally though, why you have bare spots in your Bermuda in spring and why they won't fill in no matter what you do, outside of plugging or resodding, it's probably because of what they call spring dead spot. And spring dead spot may not come back that entire year. And it can be really frustrating because you put all your work and effort into getting your lawn to green up and spread and fill in, and it's not working in those particular areas. Generally, it could be from a couple different things. The first thing, though, more than likely, it probably came from a fungus that you developed in fall. So like meaning there was no way now that you're in spring to have went back and fixed that. So in the month of September and in the month of October, my strategy is to apply a preventative fungicide. Excuse me, I can't even speak. Fungicide. So again, whether you choose to go with one brand, one active ingredient, such as propoconisol, which will be what I use, you want to make sure you do apply fungicide now and probably another application about 30 days later in October. So let's talk about 3 and 4. And these is where I would say 3 and 4 is a little more optional than 1 and 2. Now all of these technically are optional. You can do whatever you like for your own lawn. You can just let it go to sleep and that's fine as well. But number 3 and 4 are linked. So let me start with number 3. Number 3 is to get a soil test. And I'll show you the type of soil test I use up here in the corner here. But the reason why a soil test is so important is not necessarily for all the macro and micro information that you get off of it. It's more so for the pH. And the reason why pH is something that you want to attack is that it is one of the things in our lawns that takes the longest to affect, whether you're trying to raise it or lower it. So in those kind of cases, what better time than fall to really be able to fix some of these issues in our soil? So that way when we come out of fall and we go into spring, we'll probably do another soil test to ensure that our pH is now within line. And when we do throw down those fertilizers based on that result, we'll have a much, much better result, and the ground will really utilize the nutrients the way they were designed. Okay, so that's where number 4 is linked to number 3, because number 4 is about doing those soil amendments. So there's a lot of things you can do during fall. You could throw carbon down. You can attack phosphorus levels because, again, that's more soil based. Potassium is also something you could throw out. But the last thing you want to do is throw more nitrogen at your lawn. And that's kind of one of the don'ts. Okay, so now we've talked about, the 4 must-dos, or the 4 things to do, I should say, not necessarily must-dos. But now let's talk about the don'ts. So one of the things that we might be tempted to do, especially this time of year, as we are looking at our lawns, they still look good, they still look green, and we think we want to continue to feed them. You want to be careful. You do not want to use any type of slow release fertilizer, and you're really trying to avoid high amounts of nitrogen this time of year. One of the things I talked about was spring dead spot. A lot of times that also comes not only from fungus, but also comes from high levels of nitrogen that are thrown at our lawns at the wrong time. So we want to absolutely stay away from any type of slow release fertilizers. You can still use fertilizers. I'm not saying don't use any fertilizers if you choose to, but you want to be mindful of the type you're selecting. So one of the last things I just want to mention on the don't category is do not do anything that's really going to agitate your lawn. Things like scalping, things like aeration. The reason why you want to stay away from these things is our lawns are slowing down as far as growth, and your lawn will not recover in time before it goes into dormancy. So you really want to avoid those type of things. Aeration should really be done in spring or in the summer. Scalping, the same thing, early spring, maybe a midsummer scalp. But you want to stay away from those things, as those things are very aggressive to our Bermuda lawns. And we want to try to avoid those things, especially at this time of year where our lawns are starting to go to sleep. But with that, we got to get our mow on. All right, so let me show you guys what we'll be mowing with today. If you're brand new to my channel, first of all, welcome. For number 2, this is the 25-inch Mclane Commercial greens mower. So the height of cut is set to about 3/4 inch. It's kind of a nice happy medium. You see the redhead over here on the right. She's trying to get in on all the action today, but nope. It's going to be all about her. I haven't really talked about it in too much detail, but I definitely like the fact this is a 10 blade. I'll probably do a video in the future though about the difference between a 7 blade, such as this one over here on the Mclane, versus the 10 blade. I think a lot of times people have questions on, which one performs better, which one is right for my application. But for today, I just want to show you guys what we'll be mowing with. And with that, let's get to the mow action. 7,000 square feet. Dwayne, are you seriously mowing that much with the 20-inch mower? Oh, I have a 25-inch as well, right? Looks like a good future comparison video though, right? I am definitely liking that stripe action. Single stripe action that is today. Let me kind of turn it around. All right, so what do you guys think? Is that color on point? Is that 3/4 inch height of cut on point? I would absolutely say so. You know, the last time I used this mower, as we all know, had a pretty big rant about that stripe action. And she's really the one that owes me some redemption, right? Not the other Mclanes. But no, in all seriousness, that was my fault. On a serious note, though, I do have a question for you guys. The Groove Roller from Mclane. What do you guys think of that? I know quite a few of you have that roller out there. Drop your comments below on, you know, kind of what you think about that. I'll probably be putting together a roller video for you guys as well. But I just want to get you guys' take on what you guys think about that roller, and then, you know, I'll share my opinion when I put together the actual video. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hope you learned something about the do's and don'ts. You know, I'm sure you probably have seen the same or similar content online with other YouTubers, but it's good advice. You know, I'm just here to reiterate that same message because it works. It's the formula that works. Again, pre-emergent, very important. Fungicide, very important. Don't scalp your lawn as you're entering into fall. That's not my recommendation. In fact, you probably want to raise your height of cut depending on where you live. If you're going to be dealing with some really cold weather, you know, it kind of helps insulate the Bermuda. But unfortunately, just like the summer has to come to an end, this video has to come to an end. But as always, I appreciate you guys' support. I appreciate if you guys would like this video, comment down below, subscribe to my channel. And as always, be excellent and party on.